So yesterday on Twitter, I shared a very interesting video from Meyer Burnett from his YouTube channel addressing the Snyder Cut and why it was changed from a series back to a movie, and we'll get that movie in March in 4 hours. I shared the video, the piece that Robert had to say, and I thought it was very interesting and hit a lot of points on their head. But many people came and they had strong opinions, and that's okay. Different opinions, that's okay, as long as we're respectful to each other. But Meyer Burnett, he used to be a guest on the John Camp show. He was on Collider years ago as well. Good friends with John Schnepp, who passed away. He has his own show as well, and he's fairly popular on YouTube. He's a movie pundit. He's also worked with some big movie franchises, projects. He's worked on some Star Trek stuff, Superman Returns. You know, he's made movies himself. He's been producers. You know, he's been around Hollywood for a very long time, and he's gotten to interview and meet so many different people. He had an interesting story about Tom Cruise before as well. You know, so he's been in and around the industry for years. So he would have sources. Now, if you watch Dave the Film Junkie, if you watch Chris Swan, if you watch Stephen Colbert, they've been saying, even Garza, all these guys who probably, I'm not saying they do, I don't know, might have the same source. I don't know who that source is, but they probably have the similar sources or the same source. And what they were hearing was that Zack wanted the series. He pitched the series. And then it was changed back into a movie. Now, even Zack Snyder himself, I think it was on the Nerd Queens and Meg on a show, he said that he thinks it's better as a series. And even last week, I think it was on Twitter, I was saying that, look, I'm looking forward to the movie. I'm so happy. But the reason Zack wanted this as a series, the reason HBO Max kind of were pushing for it to be a series, was that week-to-week engagement, that trending that WandaVision is doing, that Loki will do, that The Mandalorian is doing, that trending week-to-week, getting people talking about this story, these characters, and coming back and subscribing to HBO Max even more. And then I thought, if it is a series, season 2 is guaranteed, because this will be a big hit. It has huge characters. The IP of these characters are ridiculously huge. Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, these characters, Superman, these characters are huge. So you can't tell me that a live action series comes out that has the budget that this film will have, with the story that's being told, and won't be a hit week to week, which won't lead to engagement for HBO Max. It will. You know, WandaVision trends probably every week, has that kind of moment that people are talking about. This week it was Vision. You know, The Mandalorian, week to week, the engagement. And Zack Snyder, in that Hollywood Reporter article, was, the main highlight was cliffhangers, and he brought that idea to HBO Max. And then something happened along the way, and it was changed back to a movie. And I'm still happy with the movie. I'll watch the movie, and hopefully I think it will lead to a number 2 or a 3. And a 5-story arc will happen, but I thought if it was a series, yeah, this is guaranteed. But now that it's a movie, it's not as guaranteed, in a way, you know. But I still think it can be a big hit. But Meyer Burnett, and I shared the 5 videos on Twitter yesterday, and they got a lot of attraction and a lot of views on them and stuff. And I made sure I give a link to Robert's channel. So guys, probably go watch those videos on my Twitter page, or just go to Robert's channel. But if you watch them on my Twitter page, go to Robert's channel, the link is in all the videos, and give him a thumbs up for his video as well, you know, just to show that engagement back to him, because I didn't want to take too much away from his channel, you know, that kind of way, but I think people needed to hear this. So I said Meyer Burnett shares his thoughts and info he has heard about why Zack Snyder's Justice League was changed from a series to a film. He gets into contracts with agents, managers, lawyers, and why many at Warner Brothers want Justice League to fail. Remember, it's what he heard and Rob's opinion. I followed Rob for years and respect him. And I mean that. I don't mean for people to go on a hate train towards Rob or Warner Brothers or anything like that. I just thought this information needs to get out there as wide as possible. Now, we know what happened back in 2016-17 with this movie. You know, they were tampering with it. Jeff Johns' dialogue, Josh Whedon brought in. We know all that stuff. We do. But that movie was a big failure for Warner Brothers. It was a huge failure. And say what you want about Zack Snyder films, they've all made bank. Those DC movies, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, even the David Ayer Suicide Squad, which Zack had a scene in that, they've all made money. Wonder Woman 84. So they were making bank, but of course they listened to bloggers, they listened to critics, and they thought this is the way it should be. Let's Marvelize this movie. And ended up being a disaster and lost them big money. Then you had rumors back then that they wanted to get the movie out before the end of 2017 for their bonuses, which was terrible. They wouldn't even, I had a big problem as well, they wouldn't even wait for Zack to grief and, stuff like that. I just thought it was badly managed. And Robert goes to town on them in these videos. He does. He says they effed up big time and they want to hide their mistake. So it's interesting. But remember, the same guys who are in charge of DC films right now, Walter Hamada and Toby Emmerich, I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying it here, I've been saying it on the Movie Buzz podcast, I've been saying it on Real Talk Live, at the Real Anarchy YouTube channel, I've been saying it on Twitter. These guys didn't want the Joker movie. And what the Joker do, it won Oscars, it won awards. Box office, $1 billion. They tried to squash that movie as well. Even Todd Phillips came out and said that. They didn't want that. That's the thing that they didn't want. And Warner Bros. Didn't make money back on it. They didn't. And that movie was a huge hit, not only online, but money and awards. That was a big hit for Warner Bros., but they missed out on a lot of money because they didn't believe it. And who didn't believe it? Walter Hamada, Toby Emmerich. These guys didn't really want to invest. They wanted their Shazam and their Birds of Prey type movies that was dictated by them. And those movies, good, didn't make money, didn't reach a wider audience. So how right can these guys be when back in 2013, 16, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, these movies were making money, but was it getting the attraction that a Batman v Superman or a Man of Steel was getting, or even a Suicide Squad? I don't think so, but it was interesting to see the progression of Warner Brothers' failures. And if they wanted to greenlit the Snyder Cut over the last 2.5 years, they would have done it by now. They would have did it. But it took AT&T coming in and saying, look, why isn't this being used? There's a huge IP here. These fans are calling for it every single week, every single day. Let's invest some money into it. And they did, 70 million. And the film wasn't fully done in effects and stuff like that. And guys like Campia, Robert Meyer, Burnett, they were technically right because the movie did need money to be finished. You couldn't watch it start to finish without it needed extra work. You could watch a cut, and we know this, and you could have got a fair idea, but it wasn't completely finished. Zach had a black and white version. Jason Momoa saw a black and white version of the movie. That woman that came out the other day who worked on the film with visual effects, she said she watched the movie with Zach, but Zach had to talk her through what was actually happening in some scenes. So you understand, these guys were still kind of right. But remember, something like the Snyder Cut has never happened in the history of movies before. Even Robert Meyer Burnett admits that he never thought it was going to happen because it's never happened. He's worked on big projects. He worked on a Superman movie. He has got to see firsthand what kind of effects go into these movies, how long it takes to do this. And even that woman who worked on the project, she said 6 months they had to do all these shots, an entire movie in 6 months. It's unheard of. And fair play to them, and well done, and I can't wait to enjoy their work next month. But it just shows you how messed up the whole situation is. So to be honest, the film was never technically done where you could sit down and watch it like we will on March 18th. And that's okay. That's okay. We can all admit that we're wrong in certain places and stuff like that. The film is coming. A cut did exist. Zach had something to show people. But I'm glad he got the money to go back and do additional photography. This is more than anything that we would have ever gotten in 2017. So I'm happy out, 100%. But Robert went into what he heard. And what he heard was pretty interesting. Now, the movie was to be a series, a 4-part series. And Rob talks about, once you do that, this isn't a movie anymore. This is episodic. This is a series, and there's more contracts at stake. The agents get involved. The managers get involved. The studio has to get involved as well. The talent have to get paid money, because it's not like you're hiring them out for one weekend or one movie. There's 4 episodes to come. So they're being talked about week to week. I think Garza said that last night on Real Anarchy. These guys are being talked about for a full month, not just one movie, a full month. So those kind of things needed to be sorted. And Rob goes those happen with big projects all the time, contracts and stuff like that. And it's money at the end of the day, and these are actors and they want to get the best money they can. So you can't fault them for any of that stuff. You can't. If Ben Affleck's going to be talked about for a month, he wants to be paid like he's going to be talked about for a month. So it's not like the talent was saying, oh, I'm not doing a series because you won't pay me. What Robert was saying was that Warner Brothers could have stepped in and sorted out this issue. They could have come in, Toby Emmerich, the guy in charge, could have come in and said, right, let's sort these contracts out. Let's get this all ready so it can be in a series. Let's negotiate right now and get this done so we can have everything sorted for the way that Zach had presented for us, and that's it. But Toby didn't do that. They kind of blindsided the whole thing and just ignored it. So then that resorted in being put back into a 4-hour movie, which again, I'm still happy over. But again, the series would have had something extra to it, and maybe that kind of hype that HBO Max is looking for in terms of week-to-week engagement with these huge characters. Maybe Game of Thrones type level of engagement, WandaVision type of level. That was a big possibility. And Robert goes like, The Mandalorian, look what that's done. That success has brought on all these spin-offs and these other shows, and maybe the Snyder Cut movie will do that. But he was like, Toby Emmerich wants this movie to fail. People inside Warner Brothers want this movie to be a disaster. They want it to not work. And why? I've been saying it for weeks. Their biggest failure is what they did to Justice League 2017. And their second biggest failure could be the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League, because it proves how wrong they really were back in 2017. Now, there's been a cycle of constant F-ups by Warner Brothers. Big time. They're even using the Ray Fisher scenario in nearly every single article that comes out about the movie. Despite controversy with Ray Fisher and Walter Hamada and stuff like that. Throwing him under the bus and things like that. That's going on. That's being used for leverage to probably try and hurt this movie in a way. And I do believe that. And I had people come on Twitter last night at me and said, but Viking, Toby Emmerich's the one who called up Zack Snyder and said, hey, let's do this, baby. And I'm like, do you believe every single thing, every article that came out in the last few years that said that Snyder Cut was a pipe dream, that it wasn't happening, that some mystery executive at Warner Bros. Said this movie will never happen? Did you believe those kind of things? Like, it suits our narrative to say, oh, Toby Emmerich called Zack and said, let's get the Snyder Cut going, because that's what we want to hear. But did it really happen? Zack is a nice guy. He's not going to come out and call these guys out. He would have did it by now. But what he did was he let his art speak for itself. And I'm like that as well in my own life. When I have haters and stuff like that, I let things speak for themselves. Whether I'm playing sport, whether I'm doing anything in life. I don't really like to call people out. I like to call them out by my actions and what I do with myself and how I present myself to people. I'm sure Zack Snyder is very similar. He wants his art. He wants his movie to do all the talking, and that's the best way to hurt these guys. That's the best way to get back at these guys, by making Zack Snyder's Justice League one of the biggest streaming hits of the year, one of the biggest hits on HBO Max, and make it one of the best comic book movies of all time. Zack has that much confidence in his own product that's how he gets back at these guys. But Robert said that Toby doesn't want this to do well. He doesn't want it to be a success. He wants it to fail. He wishes that the Snyder Cut would just go away. And yes, he maybe did call Zack Snyder and said, look, we want to work with you and get the Snyder Cut out and stuff like that. I'm not faulting that. He probably did. But who told him to? Who greenlit this in the first place? Who said, let's put 70 million into this and let's do this? It wasn't Walter Hamada. It wasn't Toby Emmerich. If that's the case, they would have did it since 2017. It had to take the merger of AT&T, of HBO Max, of Warner Media for this to actually be a reality and actually happen. And I guarantee you, if Toby Emmerich had got the position that he's looking for at HBO Max, that he kind of has right now with movies going to streaming and stuff like that, and Walter Hamada being over DC properties that are on HBO Max, if they had got that control a few months earlier, the Snyder Cut might not have even happened. Just think about that. But Robert talks about all the contracts and stuff like that, and we understand that stuff. But he says Warner Bros. Wanted to fail. They do. They effed up big time. And it's interesting. There's 5 videos to go watch there. Rob gives some interesting thoughts about the Snyder Cut, getting into the contract negotiations of the series, and the way they're going forward. Toby Emmerich and all the big suits from 2017 who caused the Justice League to fail don't want their biggest mistake to succeed. And that's the reality of this, guys. They don't. And then Robert brought up a good point as well. Would Zack ever go back to Warner Bros., considering what they have done to him in the past and Netflix have given him a franchise? Robert has a source very different from what Film Junkie, Chris Wan, those guys had. And this backs up what they were saying. They have different sources. Robert hears it from someone else, but the story is kind of merging together to be the same exact story about the series turning into a movie and why it's that. Zack Snyder said in his own words, it's better as a series. And I talked about this on Twitter, and people said, be grateful. This is a movie, 4 hours. Be grateful. And I was like, I am grateful. I'm very happy that the Snyder Cut's even happening. But I'm just going by what Zack Snyder had said. Fast forward a week later, these videos come out. It backs up the claims that Zack said, oh, it'd be better as a series. It also backs up the claims what Dave, the Film Junkie, was hearing, and all those guys were hearing as well. It backs up everything. I'm not going to stand here and say I was right and you were wrong. I'm not that type of person. I'm just saying that look at the perspective of everything that's going on. And look when different people from different backgrounds, and somebody, Robert, is big with industry talk and knows people, And people were saying, oh, he's been a Zack Snyder hater. He hasn't. He really likes Man of Steel. He really likes Batman v Superman. He has talked positively about the Snyder Cut ever since it got announced, because he never thought it was going to happen, because it's never happened in the history of movies. And he was right when he said it wasn't done, where you could sit down and watch it right now. He thinks there's a cut, but there's not one that you could distribute. And he was right. And I'm okay admitting that, it's not a big deal. And then Robert made a good point at the end. At the end of the day, we're getting as much of Zack Snyder's vision for Justice League as we could have possibly hoped for. And that's absolutely true. We really are. More than anything, like I said, since 2017, this film has gone through different periods. The compromised version, the uncompromised version, the 2:14 cut, the 4-hour cut, the series, the black and white version. All these variations of this movie have changed over time, but I think we're getting the ultimate cut, per se, of what we want. And look, Zack, if he didn't want to go back to Warner Bros., I wouldn't blame him from the stuff that has gone on. I think if he was to go back, and even Robert says it, he needs to get some reassurance from Warner Media or AT&T. Look, I need to do my vision. I don't want these guys popping in and out, making claims and making changes and stuff like that. I need to do my vision. If you're going to give me a budget, let me tell my story, and that's it. I don't want any interference. But Zack has to make sure that's going to happen for him to go back, in my opinion. I don't want him to go over the same shit again and again. He's gone through it since Watchmen had different cuts. Sucker Punch had different cuts. Batman v Superman had 30 minutes cut out. The Snyder Cut. How many movies this guy has made that there's been alternate cuts that the studio has messed with? I think Watchmen has 3 versions. Sucker Punch has 2, but there's also another director's cut that he never got to show. Batman v Superman's getting remastered. So there's different scenarios where this has happened to Zack time after time. He said Army of the Dead and Man of Steel are the only 2 projects that are 100% unfiltered him, where he didn't have any problems with the studio or anything. Probably because 1, had Christopher Nolan involved, and 2, they're the ones at Netflix where they let their artists be creative. They give them money and let them do it. And what have they done? They've given Zack Snyder a franchise on Netflix, which is brilliant. So why would he come back to Warner Brothers if they're going to treat him like shit? If they're going to treat him well, go ahead. Do it, 100%. I'm happy. But yeah, this is a very interesting video, guys. Got my inner Chris Hemsworth there, Thor. Go to the link in this video. Go to the tweets. Have a look at those videos. Let me know what you think. Also, give Rob's channel just a thumbs up and them videos as well on that video, because, I took from his channel there. I don't want to be too ungrateful towards him, because I do like Rob. I've followed him for many years. I respect his opinion. He's a very educated guy in terms of movies and how things work, and I like listening to him. And ever since, like, if this is just Rob, the only person that said this, you could take it as a grain of salt, say, okay, maybe, different sources, but different people have backed it up. And the last point I made about this videos I put out is, like, I didn't share this video, or Rob didn't share this info or his opinion for a hate train to start against Emmerich and Warner Brothers. I shared this so that we could turn the negative aspects into a huge positive. We do that by tweeting, watching, buying anything got to do with Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I ultimately mean that, guys. I didn't share this video for everyone to go and say, F you, Toby Emmerich, F you, Warner Bros., F you, Walter Hamada. That's not why I did this. I did it so that we could get together, like we've done over the last 2 years, use this negative energy and turn it into something good by tweeting about the Snyder Cut, like we did yesterday. We reached 100,000 tweets. Do that. Make this film huge. Buy the toys, buy the merch. Get your family to watch it. Buy the movie. Get down, sit down, watch the movie, talk about it online. Let's make this the biggest hit of 2021. Let's make this the biggest DC movie since Joker, or DCEU movie since Batman v Superman. Let's do that, guys, because this is the way to eat at them. This is the way to bury them. Kill them with kindness. Great, great quote to live your life by. And this is a perfect example of this. Kill them with kindness. Kill them with success. Make the Snyder Cut a huge success. I'm not into going and saying, F you, Toby Emmerich. Would I love to say it over everything that I've heard? Of course. But it doesn't get anything done. The same way that AT&T didn't look at the Snyder Cut haters or trolls or people within the community who day in and day out bash people. They didn't sit there and go, that guy called me a dickhead. Let's release this movie because he called me a dickhead. No. They see the trending, they see the engagement, they see the popular fan base that Zack Snyder has, and they go, there's a lot of money to be made here. Look at all these tweets got to do with this movie. A lot of money. Let's go and invest in this. Let's hope it's a success, and maybe we can get spin-offs and sequels where more money will come and make HBO Max a success. That's the way they thought. So the negative energy, you can have your opinion, but just don't be too over the top. Just talk about these stuff in your opinion and give it in a way that shows, look, this is what I could see that happened, but we want to see more Snyder Cut because we believe in Zack Snyder and want to show AT&T invest in this guy because you guys are on a gold mine, you know? So, guys, what did you think of Robert Meyer Burnett's video going through the contract negotiations that Toby Emmerich, that Warner Bros. Could have sorted out, that could have got rid of those problems and made it into a series which would have been a month of talk around Zack Snyder's Justice League, but instead, Toby Emmerich, Warner Bros. Want this to fail and go away because it reminds them of their biggest failure back in 2017 when they did what they did to the 2017 version of Justice League. They wanted to fail, they wanted to go away, but I don't think it is. I don't think it's going to work. I think them being negative and resisting the Snyder Cut is going to be a big failure for them because I think they should embrace the Snyder Cut because a lot of money to be gotten here. And if they could say, oh yeah, we realized we made a mistake, but we ended up doing the right decision. That's all they had to do. But egos get in the way, money gets in the way, and their positions get in the way. And even Toby Emmerich, in his position, Robert Meyer Burnett made a good point. He goes, if any other studio head did what Toby Emmerich did back in 2017 with the Snyder Cut, they would be gone. Everybody involved would be gone. It's amazing how these guys are still in these positions, making these decisions. And he goes that Toby Emmerich will still try and mess with the Snyder Cut. He will still try and do it because he wants it to fail. But guys, use that negative energy. Use that negativity. Let's turn it into a positive. Let's make Zack Snyder's Justice League a huge hit. I'm excited. I can't wait to sit down, watch this movie. 4 hours of 100% unfiltered Zack Snyder. Perfect. Let's make it big. Let's make it a hit. I'm sure you guys will. I'm sure we will together. You know, don't listen to the trolls. Don't listen to the haters. And another thing as well, guys. If people in the past said they didn't like the Snyder Cut or they didn't think it was going to happen or it didn't exist, but now they've changed their tune. Now they're saying, I can't wait to watch this movie. Okay, it does exist. Don't rub it in their face. Embrace them. It's more people that's going to watch the Snyder Cut. It's more people that's going to watch the Snyder Cut. And these people who run YouTube channels have audiences, and them talking about the Snyder Cut is good, and it might engage them to watch it as well. So guys, be nice, be kind. Why be mean about it? Unless somebody came to your house and kicked your dog in the face, then why are you acting that way towards people? Yes, they had a different opinion to you about the movie, but so what? So what? The movie's coming. You know? It's not like they ran into your house and took your Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition copy and burnt it to the ground. They just disagreed. They didn't believe because the Snyder Cut had never happened in the history of movies before. Never. And now it is. So use all that energy and put it into a positive way and embrace people who said it was never going to happen or didn't exist. Because now they know it does exist and it is coming. Let them watch it in peace. Don't be a dickhead about it. It doesn't achieve anything. You know, unless they came to your house and they kicked your dog in the face, then maybe you can tell them to go fuck themselves. But other than that, you know. But guys, like, comment, subscribe, and go check out those videos. Go to Rob's channel, just give it a thumbs up, or watch the video on Rob's channel. And follow me on all the socials, that stuff is in the description. And guys, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts about this whole situation. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, do something that makes you happy. And yeah, see you then, guys.